direction. They're actually a multi-directional tyre. So spinning it around in the other direction, and if you want this shirt, then you need to comment on this video. G'day folks, welcome back. My name's Simon. If this happens to be your first time here, this channel is all about motorcycles, adventure, camping and touring. And today I'm here to give you my honest review on the Motoz Tractionator GPS tyre. Now I'm running them on the front of the bike and on the rear of the bike. I've got to point it the right direction when I say it. So the front tyre has actually been replaced already, because I had a problem with the front tyre that was on there originally, the first one of them. So, but what I can tell you is in the 10,000 kilometres that I had the first front tyre, apart from an issue with it, which has nothing to do with Motoz, I didn't have any problems with the tyre. When I first put it on there, I did say on a video that I will link up there that it was giving me some problems steering around roundabouts. Because normally you counter steer into things, you know, push left and you drop over to the left, push right, you drop over to the right, counter steering. But the first roundabout that I encountered after putting the tyre on, I had to actually physically turn the bike around the roundabout, which was very weird for me. But I got used to that in literally a couple of days, and I used those tyres all the way down through the Rise of the Phoenix Season 1 and never had any problems with them. The tyres were both used in the Rise of the Phoenix Series 1.5, the mini-series, or Season 1.5, the mini-series. And on that ride, there was some seriously tight, seriously hard cornering with a bike that was loaded up with all the panniers and everything full. And I had this bike seriously leaned over, and I'll put a link to that video up there somewhere. And you basically, the one thing that I can say about these tyres is they grip. They grip really, really well. By the way, please excuse me wearing sunglasses, but quite obviously you can see that it's very, very bright and sunny here at the moment. In fact, in order to get the cameras to stay cool enough to keep working, I've got one of them hanging up on the tailgate of my four-wheel drive. The other one is actually the GoPro sitting in the sun over there, and the 360 sitting over here in the sun, but we need some cameras up closer, don't we? Anyway, so I've got a bit that I read out from the Motoz website that I'll insert around about now. Got the right bike, got the right GPS, get the right tyres. Motoz Tractionator GPS are made for GPS-inspired riders who need dependability in all conditions. That is a quote directly from motoz.com.au. The important things to remember is that, well, Motoz has designed them to get you anywhere around the globe and back again, according to their website, and I full well intend to put that to the test, to the absolute limits of what they can possibly do with them. I intend to get around the globe and back home again with them. In the 50-50 direction, the GPS is well-behaved, streetable tyre with smooth cornering, transition from centre to cranked all the way over, and in most off-road direction, in mostly off-road direction, the aggressive straight line hookup and cornering drive is engaged. And what's important to know about these tyres? Now, firstly, I'm going to be wearing my gloves while I'm handling this brand new tyre. That's not because there's anything wrong with the brand new tyres. The problem for me is that, and you may have noticed occasionally I have some skin problems. The problem for me is that there is a compound in rubber of car and motorbike tyres and truck tyres and so on that I'm allergic to. So as such, it causes me all sorts of skin problems that I don't really want to have. As such, I'm going to wear my gloves so that I'm not handling the fresh rubber that will be basically covered in this stuff. It's, if you're interested, it's called paraphenyldiamine, or PPD for short, and you can Google that if you want to. But paraphenyldiamine is actually in petrol, tyres, and most plastics. You know, things that are on everything: plastic guards, plastic mounting points, rubber tyres, that sort of thing. It's a stabilising agent. It's also in hair dyes, so I just let the grey grow naturally. And unfortunately, it's one of those chemicals that builds up in your system over time. Anyway, so I take whatever opportunities I can to limit my contact with it, so that so I get less skin problems. Anyway, so the Motoz Tractionator GPS tyres. So I'm going to talk more about the rear tyre than the front tyre, simply because I have this brand new one sitting right here at the moment, which makes it fantastic for being able to talk about it, because it's here and I can handle it and I can turn it around and all that sort of thing. So these tyres are basically a 50-50 tyre. So they're an all-terrain tyre. They've got a very aggressive tread pattern, and in the 50-50 format, they're set up to rotate in this direction. Now, the other thing that's with them though is that these tyres are not only set up to be able to be used in a 50-50 rotational direction, they're actually a multi-directional tyre. So spinning it around in the other direction, what it becomes is a mostly off-road tyre. So let's say 75 or 80, 25, 20. So 75 or 80% off-road, and the rest is on-road. And this makes them very, very aggressive, and probably not the sort of thing you'd want to do a lot of trips on the tarmac with, because it'll probably wear them very quickly. But set up in the 50-50 format, these tyres are actually set up so that they can get really long mileage out of them. And that's done by having this ridge up through the centre here, which has obviously got a much harder compound than other parts of the tyre. And this ridge does allow for these longer motorway, freeway, you know, highway kilometres, where you're mostly sitting upright. And the only downside that I can see with that is if you do happen to be on flat rock surfaces or whatever, it can spin up a little bit easily on this centre part. However, that's not such a problem really, because how often do you tend to ride on smooth rock surfaces, you know, up hills, that sort of thing? So depending on what you're doing, this actually is a very good tyre for most things that people do with adventure bikes like the Africa Twin. And I say that because it's got this very deep tread on here. It does have the lovely lugs all the way around the edge here to grip into the things. And as I demonstrated in a video a few weeks ago, and I'll put the link up there, as I demonstrated in that video, these tyres have what I called good tractorability. And good tractorability for me is the ability to tractor through something. So just to grip in and just keep going and slowly pushing you through things. And you might notice that the bike is actually fairly muddy at the moment, and that was from actually riding to visit my niece and trying to get through their front lawn, because it was very, very muddy, but I still did it. Anyway, so the tractorability of these tyres is really, really good. These deep treads do tend to grip into the mud and dig down into it and just slowly tractor you through. Because they're good wide channels in here, it also makes them very good at actually dissipating that mud once you get them out onto the dry surfaces again. The only sort of issue that I found with it though was when I tried to cross over a piece of wood on the ground that was at a 45-degree angle to the bike. the back tyre did slip, but the back tyre was still full of mud because I had only just gone through that really sort of big mud patch that I went through in that video. So it did tend to slip a little bit, and that was possibly because of this centre ridge, or possibly because the tyre was still absolutely jammed full of mud at that point in time. Now, if I'd gone a little bit quicker in between the mud pile and where this bit of tree was, it probably would have cleared out the channels, and it may well have just sailed straight over that piece of wood. But the piece of wood was wet and slippery. The tyres were covered in mud and slippery, so, you know, you do get that sort of thing happen. And for me, it was a learning experience anyway. You know, no damage done to anything. Not even my pride, because at the end of the day, I full well admit that I'm not a brilliant off-road rider, and as such, I'm trying to improve. Anyway, so what I wanted to do was to show you about the tread depth on these tyres and show you that tread depth versus the tyre that's still on the bike. So at the moment, looking at the tread depth here on the original tyre versus the new tyre, I would say probably about 50 to 60% of the tyre is worn off, which is okay, because at the end of the day, that 50 to 60% of the tyre that's worn off has taken me over 11,000 kilometres, and the centre section is worn down significantly more than the outer edges, and that is because in that 11,000 kilometres, I've probably done 3,000 of that on a motorway, so on a concrete surface, riding upright. So looking at that though, I would be quite confident in saying that I would say this tyre here will probably easily get me another 3,000 or 4,000 kilometres before I have to fit the new one. Maybe even 5,000 or 6,000 kilometres, depending on how many twisty bits of road I ride versus how many upright bits of road that I ride. So some of the other things that I wanted to talk about today as well was I wanted to take a moment to thank every single person who has recently subscribed to the channel. As of right now, we're currently at 378 subscribers, so the channel is growing. That means our ride group is growing and our community is growing. So I wanted to take that moment to say thank you very much to all of you who have subscribed. I know we've got some new subscribers who've come in from Thailand, so Sawasti Cup. Thank you very much for joining the channel, and I look forward to seeing your comments on my videos, your suggestions, and hitting the thumbs up on the videos. So without further ado, obviously, do hit the thumbs up on this video if you got something out of it, because the one thing that I can quite happily say about these Motoz Tractionator GPS tyres is, for me, for the sort of riding I want to do, these are the perfect tyre. These tyres grip really well on tarmac, they grip really well on gravel roads, and they grip really well in mud. I'm going to be doing less mud riding, probably more gravel roads and tarmac riding than, say, somebody with a CRF 300, you know, a Honda rally bike type thing. So for me, with a big adventure tourer bike that's going to be loaded up with panniers full of stuff, these tyres are absolutely fantastic. And that's one of the reasons why I'm happy to tell you that the Motoz Tractionator GPS, if you're after something that's going to give you really good grip on tarmac, really good grip on gravel and dirt, then that's brilliant. Look, a lot of people turn around and they say, oh yeah, but they don't grip in the wet. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. And for anyone who's hearing impaired, that's this. These tyres grip just as well in the wet as they do in the dry. But look, in the wet, I don't go hooking it around every corner like Mario Andretti. You've got to take into account that for a 50-50 tyre, you're going to lose something somewhere. That said, ride to your abilities and ride to the abilities of your bike based on what it's got on it. So when I've got all the panniers and everything loaded onto this bike is heavy. With me on it and everything on it, yeah, we're talking over 400 kilograms of weight pushing down on those tyres. And I haven't had a single problem with these tyres gripping in the wet. And if you've watched any of my videos, you'll see that I've ridden in absolute torrential downpours and I haven't had a problem with these tyres at all gripping in the wet. Okay, so these tyres were fitted, the rear tyre that's on here now and the original front tyre were fitted on the bike at 6,000 kilometres when the ones from the factory wore out and I had to replace them. So the bike currently has 17,004 kilometres on it. So I've done just over 11,000 kilometres on that rear tyre, and I've never felt on the tarmac surface, in the wet, in the dry, on the gravel, on the dirt, I've never felt that that tyre was going to let go on me. I feel quite confident with riding with that tyre. As such, you know, it's a matter of riding to the abilities of yourself and your bike and your equipment. So look, if you're looking for some tyres for your adventure bike, the Motoz Tractionator GPS is not a bad tyre, full stop. I will tell you, hands down, that I will rely on that tyre quite happily. And to be honest, from what they say on their website, on the website it says that these tyres will get you around the globe and back again. Well, my channel isn't called GlobalWalkabout for nothing. I plan on going around the globe, and I'm hoping to do it with these tyres, with Motoz Tractionator GPS tyres. Now look, I'm not sponsored by Motoz, I'm not sponsored by anybody. However, I can tell you that those tyres are worth my money. Anyway, so there's something really good that I'm going to do today as well, and that is I want to have a bit of a giveaway. So I ordered 2 of these tank tops, or singlets, or whatever you want to call them. I ordered 2 of these. And while it says that they're a XXL size, or 2XL, they're actually more like an XL in size, so therefore they don't fit me. These are a different brand to what these ones are. These are a XXL and they fit me quite well, but these do not. So I contacted the company that printed them for me, and they said, not a problem, they've sent some out for me in 3XL. And I said, do you want me to send these back? They said, no, you can keep them. So I have 2 of these, and today I'm going to give one of them away. So what I'm going to do is, at some point in the next 10 days, if you want this shirt and you're a size L or an XL, then it should fit you just fine. And if you want this shirt, then you need to comment on this video. Comment and say, I want this shirt. I want to see a lot of people commenting. If you want that shirt, comment. And I will then scroll through all the comments and I will randomly pick somebody, and then I will post you this shirt absolutely free. So this video is going to be released much sooner than the other videos that I've recorded in the last couple of days, because I want to give this shirt away as soon as possible. So subscribe to the channel, hit the like, leave a comment saying I want the shirt, and if a size L or an XL will fit you, and you happen to be the random person that I pick from however many comments there are saying I want the shirt, if you're the random winner, I will then put on there saying that I've chosen you. We will then talk by email or by phone, and I will post this shirt to you anywhere on earth. So it's a size XL, talking about American sizes. This is a size 2XL. So while this says 2XL, it's a size XL in American sizes, or a XXL when you talk about other countries. Who knows which ones? You'd think on one planet we could standardize shoe sizes and clothing sizes, wouldn't you? Anyway, so drop me a comment saying, I want the shirt. The more people that comment, the more chance that you might actually win this shirt. So do that, drop a comment, I want the shirt, hit that like button, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'll send you this brand new shirt, and I'll also send you some of my Global Walkabout stickers. So until next time, ride safe and get out there and live your own adventure.